Many Web3 conferences have emerged as the film festival equivalent to the blockchain space. Now, for a space that relies on anonymous participants typing to each other in the dark, these conferences have proven to be a vital part of the community-building ethos that ties crypto together. My next guest, Tracy Laparulo, is the founder of Untraceable. Full disclosure, I attended this year's Blockchain Futurist Conference. I was very impressed by the quality of speakers. Tracy, welcome to the Daily Drop.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, no, look, I loved your conference. Okay, so let's get a bit of clarity. So I know that you're the founder of Untraceable, but you also, you run this conference as well, right?
Absolutely. So I've been running conferences since 2013, crypto conferences, and this is Canada's largest. So I run Blockchain Futurist Conference.
Okay, so how did you start that? I mean, that's very forward thinking, especially if you've been doing this for almost a decade.
Absolutely. So I started with the first Bitcoin Expo in Canada and the first Ethereum hackathon in the world because Ethereum started in Toronto. And then from there, I spun off of just doing events all around the world, focused specifically on developers, some on capital markets, some on loyalty rewards. And I realized the community needed an event to come together. Everyone wanted to meet each other. Developers wanted to meet investors. Investors wanted to meet projects. And so I decided to run Blockchain Futurist Conference. Back in 2018, we started. And really the goal of it was just to bring all these different audiences together in this very festival kind of futuristic fair type feel. And that's kind of how it all got started.
Now, I'm going to guess that it wasn't just like you snapped your fingers and you had this beautiful conference, right? There must have been some challenges along the way, right?
Oh, most definitely. So it takes an army to really put a conference together like this. This year has been the most challenging, of course, because of COVID-19. We decided to do a virtual event in 2020. 2021, we started up and had to close everything down because of Canadian restrictions. So 2022 has been challenging in the sense of, do we open up, do we not open up? And also educating the world again, who we were and how important events were. So many new people came into crypto during the COVID lockdown. And so there was this massive new audience that came into crypto that didn't necessarily know about the events in Toronto, but we're excited to bring them all back out and to let them know us again.
So, so you started in 2013. Is that when you started the Blockchain Futurist Conference? So what did you do during the pandemic?
We started overall crypto events. Futurist Conference started in 2018, yeah.
Okay, so the Blockchain Futurist Conference, I just want to get clarity because I really like what you're doing. So I just want to know the whole history of it. Okay, so 2018 is when you started the conference.
Yeah.
But then during the pandemic, it wasn't live. Is that correct?
Yeah, so 2020 went virtual. We did a full virtual conference, which was exciting in itself. We were in Decentraland. We were in a bunch of metaverses as well. It was great, the virtual event, because we got to bring out speakers that typically wouldn't be able to attend a Canadian conference. So that was really exciting, but still not as exciting as being in person. So 2018 in person, 2019 in person, 2020 virtual, and then back up for 2022.
Pretty amazing. And again, I really enjoyed myself. I mean, just the quality of the participants, it was really well organized.
Thanks so much. We appreciate that.
So, okay, what lessons have you learned from your years of putting these conferences together?
I've learned so much. I think every time we put an event together, it's so interesting to see how the community's evolved. We get to know the speaking sessions, who has money to kind of sponsor, what big projects are in the space. But overall, I would say the lessons are like, how do we continue to make an event inclusive to grow the community? And that's what we really try and focus here on Untraceable is we're here to grow the community, not just to service the people who can maybe afford a ticket or are in a specific type of like vertical. We're here to grow the community depending on whoever you are in the space. So when I got involved in crypto, it was about social entrepreneurship. It was about the unbanked. It was about leveling out the playing field. And so we really make sure Futurist Conference is accessible to everybody and consider, comparable to some other conferences in the space that have these really big ticket prices and it's really hard to kind of get on site. We make sure everyone's able to get educated and really just experience the future with us.
Okay, and I'm going to presume you're doing the conference again next year, right?
I think we will be, yes.
When do you usually do it? Is it the same time every year?
We always do August because, we bring a big international community out. We have quite a few people from Europe, lots of people from Asia that come out. And Canada, unfortunately, has a reputation of being cold all the time. So we always want to show them a really nice, great time in the summer. We also are on the cabana. So we have most of our conferences outdoor on the water, overlooking the Toronto skyline. So weather is really important to us. And so we choose August because it's a great time to be in Toronto in August.
Well, look, Tracy, you clearly you've picked the right month because I enjoyed myself a great deal, and you'll definitely see me next year. Okay, we're going to go to commercial here on the Daily Drive. We're back with Tracy Laparulo. Okay, so I think conferences are really interesting for Web3, really because they're live, and the Web3 community is online, it's digital. How important do you think the live conferences are for the Web3 community?
I think they're so important. Honestly, crypto is built on events. You can see because we all travel to the same ones all around the world. Like you mentioned before, it's such an anonymous space that people can be so good at putting a website up now. They can have a strong Telegram group, but you don't actually know the faces behind the project. And that's what real world events allow you to do. So you come to the conference, you say, this is a real project. I met the CEO, I met the developer team. I can see they're a strong company, and then you can make better decisions whether to work with them or invest in them. The other thing that it's great for is like hiring talent. We find so many people get jobs after our conference, specifically hiring developers, people within the space. And we also set these like interesting timelines in crypto. So always, every year since I've been doing this, like 2 to 3 companies have a new logo at our event. It's like every time a few of them, launch a product, like have a demo. And so we've noticed that these big events are so critical to the timelines of our whole industry because we were able to launch all these different projects. And we wonder, if we didn't have this event, would they have changed their logo this quickly? Like, would they have redone their website this fast? And so that kind of gives us like some little cool motivation to be like, we have to keep these events going because it's overall pushing the industry forward and getting people more connected, which is really exciting.
I want to build on that because I think it's brilliant what you're talking. Obviously, your experience putting these conferences together. But okay, so we have this world where people prefer to be pseudonymous, right? And yet, they come to conferences and people are so enthusiastic and positive. Like, why do you think people are so willing to reveal themselves?
Yeah, you know what? I think people are more cautious in the virtual world to be anonymous because, that's a lot where the hacks and the scams happen, where physically they don't. But, it's been an interesting year because this is the year of the DAOs. And so the year of the DAOs brings like a whole nother game to these events because especially for sponsorship or speaking, like who speaks on behalf of the company, who actually sponsors the company if you're a DAO.
Let me just pause right there. I just want to clarify for our audience who don't know, a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. Do you want to maybe just define what that means for our audiences a little bit?
Yeah, in the most basic term, a decentralized autonomous organization allows for a collective group of people to make decisions instead of, let's just say, one specific individual. So in a traditional company, you have a CEO. I'm speaking specific to events. Here, you have a CEO who can make decisions on who to sponsor, who to speak at the event. But with the DAO, it's community driven. And so they all have to decide together. And so we had a few DAOs sponsor us and be part of it. And it's been really exciting to see how they've been able to work through these like decisions they're going to make, like what sponsorship level or what topic are they going to speak on? And do we use a more of like an NFT, like a CryptoPunk image as the person speaking, or do we actually put the individual's face? So there's definitely things that we're trying to work through, but I think the event industry is helping these DAOs kind of figure out how you make decisions as a collective group compared to just an individual, which is like very interesting in our space right now.
Oh, for sure. Look, Trace, I have to say, it's so nice to actually just meet you, virtually. Well, just because you really have a passion for the community and you really understand the community, and it's just nice to see that, right? So I guess my question is, so we've got all these conferences, and we get a chance to connect. We get behind our screens and in person. Do you think that these conferences are going to become a staple for the blockchain community moving forward?
Absolutely. Definitely Futures Conference is the staple one in Canada. There are over 6,000 people. It's by far the largest conference. We also launched Canada Crypto Week with over 10,000 people. So we had over 35 events across the city. And so what we've noticed throughout the years is there were a lot of, not so great events in previously, and they've kind of been filtered out. And now the space is coming to their big industry events around the world. And we're so excited that Futures Conference has become the one for Canada. And I think it's just like any other industry in the space, not in the blockchain space, that, as the industry matures, there are the 4, 5, 6 conferences that, companies know they need to go to every year to stay engaged. And we're just happy to be the one for Canada.
Okay, look, we got about a minute left, but September, I've been in the film industry for a couple of decades. And we always look forward to TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival. People come all around the world for that in September. Do you think August they're going to come all around the world for Blockchain Futurist Conference?
Absolutely. That's the goal. That's the goal. We love TIFF. TIFF takes over the whole city, and the way that Blockchain Futures was this year is it took over the whole city with Canada Crypto Week. So we're excited to bring more people to check out Canada, see the Canadian innovation here. Ethereum started here, Cosmos started here, CryptoPunks, CryptoKitties, all these projects all started here, all involved very heavily in events, start from the beginning. And so we're excited to continue Canadian innovation and bring the world to Canada.
It's coming. We'll talk about it at the break. We're back on the Daily Drop. Okay, let's talk a little bit about crypto winter, because that wasn't lost on me. This conference, I think partly the reason it felt so good, it's been a cold crypto winter, here in Canada, although the weather's amazing. But do you think that these conferences are helping people get through the crypto winter?
Absolutely. We had a lot of articles and people come after us saying didn't feel like as much of a crypto winter after the event because we brought and the energy was there and it was buzzing. You would expect if it was a true crypto winter that you would come to an event and it would feel dead. People wouldn't want to be sponsoring. There wouldn't be a lot of activations, but it was total opposite. So I think it really proved that, the crypto winter, I think, isn't numb to what's happening in the current world right now with traditional capital markets, with interest rates, trying to figure out what's happening after COVID. This isn't something that's isolated to cryptocurrency. It's just something that's happening in the space. But you can tell by your event, crypto is stronger than ever here. And so I think it brings a lot of energy back. And you could also see which companies don't get affected by the crypto winter. So a lot of these companies are legitimately funded. They're very well backed. And if you've been in the space as long as I have, you realize there's a lot of ups and downs in crypto. You just kind of got to hold through the winter and know really fundamentally the technology is strong and you're supporting good projects and good teams.
Well, Tracy, look, I think I know how you're going to respond to this question, but I do have to ask it, right? Because there's been a lot of negative publicity recently regarding crypto, really ever since the Luna Terra collapse. We've just been besieged with mainstream media being like, crypto's a scam and it's going to die. Do you think crypto winter is temporary, or is there a larger problem with the blockchain community?
Yeah, listen, I've lived through it all. So, my first one was Mt. Gox. When that got, it was a big hack back in the day there, and people thought, this all was a scam. And then 2017, there was 2018, there's a different kind of crypto winter. That was the ICO phase. That was a bit scarier. Nowadays, like I said, it's not numb to the current market, what's going on. I think this is definitely temporary, but you still have to be very cautious of what you're doing out there. Not all companies will last. It really depends how they manage their finances. I do think what's different about this crypto winter is there is the ability for stable coins that never happened in the past. And so traditionally in the past, other crypto winters, everything was in Bitcoin, everything was in Ethereum. So when one went down, the whole market went down. Now people do have stable coins to kind of help them get through these different, times. And I think it's making it a lot safer of a space to still be part of.
Can you explain that a little bit for our audience? Why is it easier for people? Why do they find more security in the stable coins?
Well, I think because now you can hold it in cryptocurrency, right? Where before, a lot of these companies now are global companies, so it's hard to liquidate into your, so they would hold in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then when Ethereum or Bitcoin would go down, their entire company would collapse. We saw so many great companies that happened to in the past, where now companies are holding their reserve in stable coins, so they're just able to pay employees, pay for the technology, pay for products using stable coins, which is exciting. There's also so many more softwares nowadays that you can pay staff in crypto. You can pay, all your products and services in it. So they've used cryptocurrency as a way to fund their company, where in the past it wasn't like that. You had to liquidate, you had to put things on credit card and try and figure out what company, what country you're in, and things like that. So it was much harder. So which I think has kept a lot of these companies afloat during the crypto winter.
Okay, so again, let's get back to crypto winter. And again, we know people are struggling through crypto winter. And although obviously your conference is sort of a great respite, what advice would you give to people who are struggling through crypto?
I think really understand the technologies that you've invested in. If you believe in technology, you believe in the team, that you have nothing to worry about, just kind of stick with it. But you have to make a decision on yourself what makes the most sense. I always just say never invest in anything you're not willing to lose. Like, this whole thing is a massive experiment in the world. It's a huge gamble. It relies a lot on regulation. It relies a lot on different factors in the world, and so it's all very risky. As long as you fundamentally understand that, then there's a lot of fun you could have in the space.
Look, we just under a minute. We're going to go back to break. Obviously, nobody knows. I'm just curious what you think. How long does crypto winter last?
Oh my goodness, that's a hard one.
The
I
date,
don't know.
give me the exact
I don't
date,
know.
January 13th, 2023. No, but like approximately. How long? Just a sense.
I don't know. I would say July 2023.
Oh, really? So you think it's going to be an extended kind of winter?
I think so. And again, I am basing things on what's going on in the real world, not the crypto world, really. There's a lot of stuff going on in the real world right now. But who knows? The government adds stimulus all the time. So who knows? I don't know what's going on with the world these days. It's really, really hard to predict anything with the future right now. COVID-19 was such an outlier.
Definitely. So you know what? Let's talk about the future when we come back from the break on the Daily
Perfect.
Drop. We're back with Tracy Laparulo. Also, your sister works for Blockchain Futurist Conference as well. I met her.
Yeah, she's great. We have a big team at Futurist Conference, all mostly female, which is exciting as well.
Yeah, no, it was such a good vibe. Okay, well, speaking of the conference, what are your goals for the future of the conference?
So our big thing that we launched this year, we launched our own token called Unny. We gamified the full experience. So if you went to sponsor booths, speaking sessions, compost your garbage, recycled, you actually received points that you were able to exchange for cryptocurrency called Unny. And then with this Unny, you can use on site. So you can buy things on site, get experiences like helicopter rides, front row seats of Vitalik, popcorn, cotton candy, tons of stuff. And so what the focus was how can we drive actions on site and incentivize people using cryptocurrency to do positive good. And we had hundreds of thousands of interactions, hundreds of people playing the game. And it was really exciting to see such a successful activation on site. And we're excited to really gamify experiences in the future with crypto.
Okay, and how do you think the blockchain community will grow in the future?
Our focus is to continue to grow the community, to continue to make it simple for people to enter the community. As so much has evolved over the years, we still have to bring it down back to the basics. Every event that we do a blockchain bootcamp that brings new people into the space. We have an Ask an Expert booth if you have questions to get things answered. And so we have to find a way to continue to grow that. When we do our bootcamp, I started off thinking, it's going to be students and maybe like a younger generation. And I learned really quickly there's people in capital markets, lawyers, people in suits that were showing up to these boot camps. And that's when it really blew my mind that, hey, this community is growing in all areas. And we have to make sure that we give the education and make it easy for people to come on site. And I think that's where a lot of other events really lack is you have to be part of already knowing the community, or you have to have a lot of money or have a lot of companies to pay for you to come to these big events where we don't do that. We want to make sure how do we continue to grow the community by bringing new people into the space that necessarily don't think that they're part of the crypto community, but really it's open to everybody.
So, you've kind of become this pioneer, right? For this huge industry, and you're really like a key figure in Canada.
Thank you.
Did you know that was going to happen? I mean,
I didn't. I started doing the first event as a volunteer. I ran the first Bitcoin Expo as a volunteer in 2014. And I got really lucky because I worked at a place called Bitcoin Decentral where Ethereum started out of. And the founders of Ethereum hired me and they said, who wants to run this event? We're going to also run a hackathon. And I put my hand up. I was the only girl in the room. I had pink hair. And I decided to jump in, and little did I know 10 years later that this would be Ethereum would have completely changed our world. And we were there at the beginning, at the forefront of it. And I think, it speaks a lot to all the females out there and anybody really that, go and volunteer and get out and just try and get involved in the space. You have no idea where it's going to lead you. This led for me to run a business and build a community. And if I can do it, anyone can do it, really.
Well, look, again, like I've been so impressed, with you and your conference. But we got about a minute left. I just want to know, maybe you haven't thought about it, I'm not sure, but what do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy. I guess my legacy would want to be someone who makes it in a space inclusive for everybody and to grow the community to beyond what people think that we can grow it to. And definitely to drive actions on site and to change the way people are using blockchain technology for social good. So, like I said, I got involved back in the day because of the unbanked and helping the world. And I love my legacy to change events in order to change the world. So I have a thesis like in order to change the world, you have to change events, because life is just a series of events. And so if we can use blockchain and crypto to change the way events are done, then I think we can change the world.
Well, Tracy, look, on behalf of Canada, let me just say thank you, because you really have been at the forefront of this new industry. And I don't know, we're proud of you and we appreciate you. And
thanks, Bobby. I'm so excited to meet you in person. And I appreciate you for doing this and having me on here. It means a lot, and it just continues to build community. So thank you for that.
well, amazing. And you'll definitely see me next year. And thank you for coming.
All right. Thanks so much.
Bitcoin was created as a reaction to the 2008 subprime mortgage crisis. Crypto conferences have emerged as an unlikely result of attempting to build a community based on not trusting each other. Sometimes the poetry of life emerges in the most enigmatic of ways. We'll see you next time on The Daily Drop.